Steve Gamache with a Chef Knives to Go quick look product video, and this time we're looking at the Tanaka VG10 Damascus Gyuto 240mm knife. This knife has a core steel of VG10 stainless, and the heat treat rating on that core steel is about 62 Rockwell. The construction is a stainless layered kind of Damascus style cladding over the top of that core steel for a very interesting, nice look to it. Very refined look with a kind of a subtle Damascus, so not too in your face. The weight on the knife is 154 grams, 5.4 ounces, so nice and light. It's a very lightweight, almost laserish style Gyuto. The blade length is 245 millimeter, and the overall length is about 15.3 inches. The spine is pretty thin back here above the heel at about 2.5 millimeter, and the blade height is quite generous on this at about 55 millimeter at the heel or chin back here. The handles, your basic, no frills, D-shaped Howood buffalo horn ferrule, and it is a right-hand bias D, but as a lefty, I have no problem with the pinch grip, especially at dealing with that D handle at all. I've never had an issue with that. Some lefties I know don't either, so don't make it a make or break, in my opinion, of whether you get the knife or not. The handle circumference here at the buffalo horn wood junction is about 3 inches, and it fits the knife well. Let's take a little closer look at it. So this is for a hand-done knife, this is pretty thin overall, and I kind of put this in kind of a almost laser class knife. It's pretty darn close to a laser, slightly thicker than something like a Kono HD, let's say, or Takamura, but it's still very thin, and it really flows through product just extremely well. Tanaka has some of the coolest kanji. They've got some really nice kanji, and they hammer it in there. They etch that deep in their hand chiseling, and it's a nice effect. It's a cool looking set of kanji. They do a nice job on that on all their knives. The core steel showing right there at the edge. Again, this is a pretty shiny blade, but it's got a kind of a more subtle Damascus finish to it, so it's not too crazy. The performance of this blade is simply outstanding. Balance point on this is a bit in front of a pinch grip. See if we can pull it up here. The handle's really light on this, but there's your balance point. Pinch grip's a little bit back here. If you were to get a custom handle job on this and put a slightly heavier handle, that would bring this back a little bit for you. Fit and finish is really good on the blade. Nice relief here on the choil and bottom of the neck here, and also on the spine. The blade is 55 millimeters tall, but it doesn't feel quite that tall in practice, and I think part of that is the thicker neck. So you've got generous clearance, but it doesn't feel super tall. I very much enjoyed using this knife. It was impressive, to say the least. This is a cool blade. Some people may poo-poo VG10, but this knife just works, regardless of the material from which it's made. Let's look at the grind of the knife, and you'll see it is pretty darn thin at the edge. Again, I'm calling this kind of a quasi-laser. There's your profile, which is kind of a general, gentle curve. This is not a knife for people that like to push cut and want huge flat spots. It does not have that sort of style to it. But here's what it looks like on the board. It is definitely an overall rounded, curved belly or profile. So it's a great rock cutter or glide cutter, pull cutter kind of style. You've even got some back bevel back here. So it rolls real nice into that, but definitely not a big flat spot. It's not what it does. So extremely impressed with this knife. It's just a great value and a really, really well-made blade. It looks cool. Great high-performance blade, kind of a quasi-laser if that's something you're looking for. And just a great knife. The Tanaka VG10 Damascus Gyuto 240mm.